I'm live. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Niall Campbell. This is Meet the People Live, and we have the one and only Gia Peppers. Y'all, I'm so excited for this one. Gia is my girl. All right, Gia is someone that I absolutely love. I'm excited to have her on because she has been on the bucket list of interviews that I want to do, that I wanted to bring on. So I'm excited for this conversation. But we're going to talk about her before she gets in here. We're going to give you a little bio if you don't already know who she is. Gia is a multi-talented entertainment on-air talent, content creator. She's born and raised in Washington, D.C. She is a DMV girl at heart, DMV stand up. She is a media phenom, y'all. She has worked on camera for BET, VH1. She was the Washington Wizards and arena host. She's worked for Essence Magazine, Billboard, Complex, Hot 97. Literally, she has done it all. She had a show. She was on BET Breaks, Black Coffee, Black Girl Beauty on VH1. And she recently, this is what we're really going to get into, is we're going to really talk about, she recently started her own series on YouTube called Give You the Game. It's a YouTube series where she's had talent such as the one and only Michael Jordan's daughter, the heiress of the Jordan brand, Jasmine Jordan, and the one and only Debbie Allen. And she also hosts Free Game Fridays, where she has some phenomenal people that have already come on. She's had John Wall, she's had Robin Thede, she's had Christina Elmore, like the list, she started this in the midst of quarantine, in the midst of this coronavirus, just to have real candid conversations, because people love tuning into that. People love, getting advice and seeking those conversations. What's up, everyone? It's good to see y'all in here. We're about to, hey, Chuck, send my love to Gia. Gia and Gia. I forget. We got a little baby Gia. But yeah, so I'm so excited for this conversation with Gia. She's somebody that I absolutely look up to, somebody that I absolutely adore. She's phenomenal. So we're going to have a real conversation just about being a black woman in media. What do we face? Being a woman that, she doesn't define herself to one box. She can cover entertainment. She can cover politics. Hey, Coffee Gray. She can cover sports. She can interview literally anyone. And so we're going to have that deep dive. We're going to have that real conversation just about that, just about her journey. Hey, Donald. Good to see y'all in here. I see you guys in here. Yes, get into it. I want to hear all about the hardships. We're going to talk about them hardships because oftentimes I think social media likes to play out, we see all the highlights. Gia's here. We see all the highlights that people face. So we're going to talk about that. Gia's here, so we're going to get into that. Again, the one and only Gia Peppers. This girl is phenomenal. Again, I absolutely adore her. And so we're going to tap into that mind. We're going to truly get to meet who Gia is. And we're going to bring her in. Let's hope Wi-Fi is on our side. It says waiting. I always get nervous. It's connecting. Hey, we're here. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Are you back in New York?
Yes, I am for the week.
I was like waiting for the Peppers jersey in the background. I was waiting
yeah, I need to come back to check out how things were up here. So I was like,
Are you gonna go back home?
I gotta figure it out because it's quarantine, it's a pandemic. Like, I don't know, child. I'm making it work just as as much as I can. But yeah, I decided to come up and see. I mean, it's the numbers are actually less in New York than they are in the DMV right now. So,
oh, that's a mess.
Yeah.
DMV together. Yeah, Miami's the new epicenter.
Yes, and it's like they've always had their beaches. It seemed like they didn't really close their beaches down in the first place. They were like, I mean, it's kind of lit it's still here, so it is what it is.
We're gonna give you 2 weeks, and then you guys can go back and party on the beaches and spread the virus even more.
Please don't.
Florida is just a mess. But thank you, Gia, for taking this time to speak with me and to come on my show.
Of course.
Conversation. But before we get into any interview, we always play a game.
Okay.
I'm going to give you, this game is called Guess That Song, and I'm going to read off the lyrics.
Okay.
All right, and you're going to have to guess the song.
Okay.
Right. Now, your only clue is that this group, it's a group, is very special to you and your journey. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. If you live at home with your mama, oh yes, son, I'm talking to you. If you have a shorty that
See,
don't,
Destiny's Child.
no, it's not. Wait, no, it's not.
Wait, if you live at wait, is it if you live at home with your mama? Oh,
Yes,
TLC.
yes.
Oh, Child, I'm asleep. I already said Destiny's Child because I was thinking I was like the group that is important to my life is
Yeah.
Destiny's Child.
I'm the reason why I did TLC was because that was your first ever red carpet. Was the TLC
Child.
premiere?
How
Yeah.
did I get that so wrong? I'm like, woo, let me wake up. I can't have no wine. I'm gonna be tired if I have wine. I'm gonna keep drinking my coffee, child.
All right. Yeah. So the song was No Scrubs, but yeah, you got it. It's okay. It's okay. Let's see if you can. Let's see if we get this one. The next clue for this one is that we're kind of in the same realm when it comes to a song. All right. We're talking
Okay.
about trash men. Wish we could switch up the roles and I could be that. Tell you I love you, but when you
None of
call,
the get back. Sierra, like a boy.
there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. I wasn't sure. I was like, have you interviewed Sierra?
Yes, I have interviewed Sierra. She's the sweetest person. I interviewed her for when Essence used to do their style like their takeovers during Fashion Week, and they would have fashion shows like that featured Black women-owned brands and Black-owned brands. And she was there as the talent, as one of the talent there. And so yeah, I got to interview her. She's gorgeous and like tall and stunning and annoyingly pretty.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, she gives off a ray of light that is just like so rare. Like you can like watch it like on her lives or anything like that. It's like this glow. And it's like,
Yes. Very blessed. A very blessed glow.
yeah, you can definitely feel that. But we're not talking about Sierra. We're talking about who Gia Peppers is.
Well,
And
thank
so
you.
we're tapping in to meeting the person behind Gia Pepper's career and who you are. But my first question is, reading your story and even kind of knowing you, your father was a journalist.
Still is.
Yeah, your father is a journalist. Your
Mm-hmm.
mom got you into the arts at a very young age.
Yes.
You went off to Rutgers for college. But my question really is, what was that aha moment? When was that moment that you knew that this was the path, this was the journey, entertainment journalism was what you wanted to go down?
It's so funny because it's the TLC moment, the moment where, that my first red carpet where I did the TLC story that VH1 did with Kiki Palmer as who's she, Chili, and Left Eye's character was played by Lil
So,
Mama, and Drew Sidora played T-Boz. And so that was my first ever red carpet. I was working at the blog called Music Exclusives, and it just felt right. Everything just clicked. Like every question that I had, every celebrity that I encountered that night, every person that I saw was like, oh, okay, this is, you're really good at this. You should do this. Like, this is something you should do. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Well, and even other journalists said that, and other reporters and other bloggers that were on the carpet. And so I think at that moment I knew like, oh, okay, I can do this. I love red carpets. I love the action. I love how crazy it gets. And so from pretty much from then on, I never looked back. I was already interning and stuff and doing different things. So I knew what the media landscape looked like from various angles, from radio production to television production to digital production. And I was just like, I was not that I was afraid, but I was always like, well, everyone always goes for the talent first. Let me start with every other angle first, just to make sure that I know for sure that I want to do talent work. And that when I am booked as a talent, I have a great understanding of what producers are looking for. And so, yeah, that was the moment where I was like, okay, this is something I can do.
yeah, no, and that's real because like somebody told me early on is that you want to be able to do everyone's job because when something goes wrong, you want to be able to pick out that was the exact thing that went wrong. The lighting was off because you didn't have it on this. Oh no, it's a little
Right.
you didn't do this with this angle or anything like that.
Yeah.
To know it all.
Yeah.
And you don't just want to be a talent because at any moment anything can happen. So I think that's so
Like a pandemic. Yes. Anything can happen. Like the world shutting down.
Yeah. You got to be able to do everything. You got to be able to do your makeup. Those are all lessons that you learned early on. and that you even share with me. So I think that's so important.
Yes, like I remember when we met and you were working at the Wizards. Was it my last season or my second to last? My second to last season.
Oh, what's your
I
last?
did. It was my last season when we met. Okay, I thought I saw you for 2 seasons, but maybe I just saw you, Mike.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, she's gonna be great. Like you always had that very, very focused mind, which I really respected. And I was just like, dang, that girl's gonna be great. I wasn't ready. I'm still, you know how I feel about mentors. I'm like, okay, it's gotta be a real relationship, and and I respect so much that like when even what I really love about you is that like everybody who is focused and driven and sure of who they're going to be on the journey, you see again. So I was like, she's gonna be fine. Everybody used to say that about me, all the people that I wanted to be my mentors, and some did turn out to be my mentors and some didn't. But it was, eventually I saw them again. They was like, Child, we knew he was gonna be fine. We like you was all worried for nothing. And you're like, oh, okay, well, you could have still but I'm happy that we we have come back around, and I've seen you do such great work, and I'm so proud of you. You've been killing it during the quarantine, talking to everybody. So keep killing it, sis.
I appreciate that, but we go back to you. So
Okay.
I'm gonna receive it, but I appreciate that. But even like just tapping into that a little bit more, I think, like you said, like those moments where everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna be fine." You're like, "Is it?" Let's talk about that first year. Let's talk about that moment when you graduated and you didn't have no job. You had
Heck
plenty
no.
of internships, but no.
Sure did.
Talk
Yep.
first moment. How did you get through that?
I first it was
Mm-hmm.
my mom who the summer after graduation, when it's not a pandemic, is one of the most lit summers of your life because everybody's having cookouts, especially in the DMV. Like all of my girls who live in PG, all of us who lived everywhere in DC and Moco, like everybody was having these blowout summer bash cookouts. So every weekend we was hitting 3-4 cookouts, being happy and lit and just really excited for everything to come, even though none of us had jobs. In 2012, it was the height of one of the biggest recessions in the last few decades of our country. And so none of us had jobs, but we were all like, at least we, people giving us money in our graduation cards. So let's have that fun.
Yeah.
And, it was beautiful. It was a very energetic time, but my mom realized that I was having way more fun than doing work. And so in the height of the summer, in the hotness of July, my mom took me up to Brooklyn to live to my 80, to live with my 80, she 88 now, my 80-something-year-old great aunt. And she was like, you're gonna be in New York. You've always wanted to live in Brooklyn. I've always loved Brooklyn. I used to come up here with my family. We have a lot of family up here. And so she was like, here you go. You're going to stay with her. Here's your room. She ain't had no AC, no Wi-Fi, no nothing, child. So I was in there figuring it out. But what she did was, I had all these great relationships from my internships at the Wendy Williams show and Live with Kelly and Michael, Donnie Simpson in DC, Big Tigger in DC. I had all these great relationships from that. And then Ween on top of that, the Ween Academy. And so I slowly but surely, like once I got through the shock that I was like not home, which took like a few weeks, I just started to like hit up my friends again that were here. And we just started to like really build community out here. One of my mentors, her name is Isis. She used to live a few blocks away from me, and Demetria Lucas. They used to live a few blocks away from me in Brooklyn. And I would go over their house and we would hang out and talk about like what we wanted to be. Like community became really important. And so I figured it out. I got a job through one of my Ween sisters at an advertising agency.
Yeah.
I was the assistant account executive for the BMW North America regional accounts. So basically what that meant was that I pretty much handled all of the advertising for local commercials in like all the East Coast. So if it was like BMW DC Autoshop.com, like I was the person that was like making sure that the national spots were regionalized and localized. And so as you probably would know from me, I hated it. I was crying every single day. Like I was in the bathroom like, dear God, why does this, Lord, you said now, come on, Jesus, like what is happening? Why is this my life? But what that job did have was a beautiful location in downtown Soho, which I love Soho. It's one of my favorite parts of New York. And then it also had car service after 9 p.m. and they gave you your own laptop. And so I had my laptop, my old laptop. Hey, Gavin. I had my old laptop and from college. So it was getting a little full. And so I needed something to still blog on the side. And so I was still blogging and working on the side. I was able to do a lot of like, so when I would have like my little spreadsheets up, but on the back be like blogging. And so I started just pitching all these different brands. I started writing for Karen Civil at that time. It's so funny because we're friends now. Started writing for Juicy Magazine, which is no longer a magazine, but it was like, you know, a women's magazine like Honey and Vibe Vixen. I also started writing for Vibe Vixen. I just started to get my clips up. And around that same time, I started to just hit the pavement and meet whoever I could meet that needed an on-air talent. And so that was when I met the young guys who run music exclusives. And then at that same time, I also went down the street to SOBs. And that's where, you know, SOBs is such a legendary, incredible stage that a lot of our favorite artists have blessed. And so went down there and I just, you know, said, you know, well, that wasn't the first year out. That might have been the second year out because at that time I'd already gone and left. Hey, Daniqua, gone and left from CBS Radio News, which is a job I got working from the NABJ fair. And so NABJ is also a really, like, if you're a Black journalist, I definitely, like, if you are not a part of an NABJ anything chat, please sign up today. And the conference is coming still virtually at the end of the summer. So please make sure you all sign up. But I want to just make sure that, you know, everybody knows that there are places out there that are still invested in Black journalists. Like, even in the midst of COVID, in the midst of craziness, NABJ is still here for us. And so I got a job there with, actually, no, that was the first job I got. And then I went into, Jesus, I forget. But I went into advertising after that job. But NABJ got me my jobs, my first job in business with CBS Radio News. I was working overnight in the newsrooms from midnight to 8 a.m. covering news stories and picking up the phone for localized people and figuring that out. And I knew that from there, like, I was making no money. So I knew that I wanted to work something where I could stack my coins a little bit. And so I did advertising for a year. And during that time, I was still freelancing. But yeah, it was all just a grind. Like, I just was taking every opportunity.
Let's see. Somebody called.
Okay. No, my phone is on a time limit. I try to do an hour on social media, and I try not to do too much.
It does.
Yeah, because it could get crazy on these here socials. But yeah, and so I was just grinding and taking any opportunity I could to utilize my actual degree because it gets crazy out here. And especially back then when there was really, Instagram wasn't as popping. Like, you couldn't make that much money off of Instagram. Twitter was fun, you know, it wasn't a place to necessarily advertise things. So yeah, you had to figure it out, and I just figured it out the best I could.
Yeah, so let's go into that a little bit more with like Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, when you first started, I guess that first year out, 2012, 2013, you know, digital media and social media, that was something that was on the rise.
Yeah.
And it's become something that's literally the go-to. People are looking for people that are expertise in digital media. Talk to me about that. How has that impacted and shaped your career?
Right. I mean, so it has been the biggest rose and thorn in my career because I'm actually not that big of a fan of social media because it can be so overwhelming sometimes. I also think sometimes it lacks authenticity and it just lacks truth. And I know that, you know, sometimes you got to play the game, right? You got to, you know, do these things. And sometimes you might want to feel like posting yourself, but I'm not the type of girl that'll post a selfie every day. You know, I'm not the type of girl that, you know, bust down on the ground. Like, that's just not me. I just don't, it's just not something I do. And so when I realized that I wasn't going to, you know, necessarily take that route, I knew that my following was going to take longer to grow. And so for me, you know, a lot of producers early on passed up on me because they were like, you don't have that much followers. You don't have this, you don't have that, you know, and A lot of people tried to tell me to go into news, hard news, and go local. And
Yeah.
I just always knew. I was like, no, like, you might not get it, but I get it. At the end of the day, I know that what I'm doing right now is going to set me up for something. And so slowly but surely, like, I've been able to grow a great community of people online who actually like me, who actually like my content, who I don't have to necessarily sugarcoat stuff with, who we are a community of believers and strivers and dreamers who are trying to always put our best foot forward and truthful about dark times and moments where you feel lost. And I don't want people to feel like they have to fake it on my page. Like, you won't. I mean, sometimes, I'll be like, hey, Danielle Young.
Yeah.
I like you too. When you have to, sometimes you're feeling yourself and you want to post pictures, but that's just not necessarily always how I express myself. And so, yeah, I had to learn how to balance it because, again, this is a part of the game, right? Like, people care about the influence that you naturally come with. And so I always tell journalists, find your balance. Like, what actual content do you like sharing? Like, if you are taking pictures as a result of you and your best friend hanging out one day, take 5 good pictures and post them over 5 weeks. Like, figure out how you can make sure that you're celebrating your wins also, because that's a major part of growing a brand. And so, I think everybody has to find their balance, but social media is a beast if you don't necessarily know how you want to see it. I still have to, like, be like, Gia, you got to post today. And if my spirit or my energy feels low, I will take breaks. Like, I'm so not the girl that, like, I tell people all the time, like, you ain't going to get a post from me every single day. It's not going to happen. But when I do post and I do share, I hope that it gives people something. Like, I'm a long caption mommy. Like, it's about 4-5 paragraphs in a caption. It is what it is. I'm so not the girl that's, I be trying. I'll be like, ooh, one sentence. Okay, what's this one sentence gonna be? And it ends up being like 16 sentences. It never happens. And so, I always just try to be honest about how I'm feeling and what I'm actually going through. And usually people need to know that other people are going through that too. And so, yeah, I just kind of like to be a little bit more realistic on my socials. But, there's aspirational things that my life naturally brings that I've worked for too. So it's, again, that balance that I just like to share.
Yeah, and I think that's deep, and I was gonna bring this up later, but I kind of want to bring it up now, because there was a post that you had on Twitter, and you posted on Instagram as well. But it spoke to me because I was like, wow, it's like Gia goes through it too. And I'm gonna read it out loud. It's a thread.
Right.
The one where you said, "Shout out to the content creators for real. The nervousness you feel in producing and sharing your own content is not a joke, and y'all do it consistently anyway. I'm over here like, will people care? Will anyone watch? Whew. New levels of respect.
Okay.
New levels of respect." And that right there, it was just, like, my friend sent it to me, and I was like, oh, I know Gia. Like, I was like, wow. Like, they're like, Nio, like, this is exactly what you become, like, complaining about and, like, feeling. And I'm like, yeah. Sorry, I live kind of twitched. Are you still there? You're good?
I see you. I can see you fine.
It just, like, twitched. But yeah, so, like, that moment, I was like, wow, like, you go through it too. And you have those moments of, like, that uncertainty. What's going to happen?
Yes.
Talk to me about that. Why do you choose to reveal that side of who you are? Because you could easily just show all your highlights. You could easily just be Gia that everyone loves. Why choose to show that side of who you are? What made you decide to do that?
I am so not, like, cool. I have never in my life been, like, a cool person that can be like, oh my God, life is freaking perfect. Everything I do, boo, they want to be me. Like, of course, we all rap, like, Megan Thee Stallion lyrics. And girl, thank God Megan is okay. Dear, 2020 gotta chill.
Don't get me started.
Anyway, sorry, but we rap, the hot girl summer, the Barty, we rap bar, like, I be in my bag city girls acting up, but I'm really not that. I have no idea how to be that. I've never been savage. I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah.
So the way that I realized that social media was going to be something that I leaned into more instead of backing away from, because I didn't feel like my content necessarily belonged, was just being honest.
Yeah.
I, at that point, was doing my first real episode of Give You the Game, and that was the one I did with Jasmine Jordan, Michael Jordan's daughter. And I definitely figured out early on that if I don't get out of my own head with producing content, I will never produce anything. And it's like a mix of my Virgo, it's a mix of my anxiety, it's a mix of all these things that, like, perfectionism, which I realize now a lot of people are telling me is also a response to trauma. Like things like that. I was like, oh my gosh, if I don't put this out, I will not produce anything. And so I'm in the midst of seeing edits. I'm in the midst of getting all the things together. And it just was something that really was on my spirit. Faith is a big part of my journey. And so I know that God also has given me a platform not to just use it selfishly, but to share it and make people feel affirmed and welcomed and seen and heard, to not feel so invisible and lonely on this journey, because the journey of life can be lonely, especially as a content creator, especially as an entrepreneur, especially as a journalist, especially as a person that doesn't work in an office every day, 9 to 5, which all of us are now home. Most of us are home. And so whenever I can use my platform truthfully and authentically in a way that I know will connect with people, I know that other people feel this, I just do it. I just don't believe that my platform is just for me only. And so when I have those moments where I can be truthful about how I'm feeling and, going to YouTube and seeing it upload, I'm like, crap, this is so scary. I don't know if it's like, you can be the Gia Pepper all you want, but YouTube will humble you, boo. Okay, that algorithm will get you to get. Instagram will humble you. Twitter will humble. IGTV will humble you. So it's like,
what?
You have to. I'm in a business, online business school right now. That's for Brit & Co, which is like this creative entrepreneurship type of cool little community. And they have a business school for people who want to get better at being a creative entrepreneur. And there's this coach on there, and her name is Naomi. And I told her like about my content upload issues, and she was like, you got to stop being attached to the outcome before you even put it out. Like, how do you even talk yourself out of something already before you even produce it? It doesn't matter. You have to just keep shooting. At the end of the day, you just got to keep putting up content that you are proud of, that you believe in, that aligns with what you want to be in the world. And if people like it, great. If people don't, so what? There's going to be another video. There's going to be another interview. There's going to be another photo. There's going to be another piece of content that you're going to have to put out. Are you going to let every single time only 50 people check it out deter you? Or are you going to build your career? Because everybody who is an entrepreneur or a person or an entertainer or a public facing figure fails more than they win. It's just that we see the wins and we're like, oh my God, everything they do is perfect. And at some point you do get to that point where you are an Issa Rae and people are scamming, trying to find you on everything. But a lot of us are still working towards that point. So, I'm like, I'm learning how to be more friendly to my own content, because it's real out here.
Yeah, that's so important. Because I don't know where I heard it, but somebody said, they're like, I got mad because I got 200 views on a video. And yeah, that's low. But then you look back and you think about it, and 200 people.
Hi, Darian. I love you.
Hi, Darian. 200 people watch their work. 50 people, if you get 50 views on something, 50 people, think about that. Put them all in one room. 50 people cared enough
to say something. Yeah.
To look at it. And so it's we are extremely hard on ourselves with social media, with digital media. We're seeing it. We're all focused on the numbers. But, you have to realize, why we became a journalist in the first place. We want to tell these stories, right? So you want to be able to tell people stories, and you want to be able to touch those people. But
you better
had 42,000 views on counting. Okay.
Let me tell you something about Jesus, and also shout out to The Last Dance, because
that was perfect timing. Okay, that was nothing but God.
I text Jasmine. I was like, hey, girl, do you mind if I put it out now? I know it's been a few weeks, several weeks, but do you mind if I put it out now? She was like, oh, no, that's perfect. And so I put it out, and it made so much sense, because what's so dope about Jasmine Jordan is she is so much more than Michael Jordan's daughter. She is her own powerhouse, her own young brand in the making. She is her own mother mogul. She works with players under the Jordan brand, but she is the person that makes sure that whatever they want to be said in their lines, collections, campaigns is said. Like she's a boss in her own right, and she definitely has her dad's like focus and drive when it comes to attacking her goals. Like I love her. Hi, Keely. And so, you know, it's definitely one of those things where I wanted, again, to tell her story, whether people liked it or not. Like I knew I was going to be nervous. I knew I had to just, you know, practice that muscle of not being perfectionist and put it out. And I'm glad to see it's doing well. And now I just got to get the muscle back up to keep putting out content.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely feel that. Quarantine can do that to you. But shout out to quarantine, too, because people tuning in. And I think, again, that piece was also so important because a lot of people were asking, like, you know, where's Jordan's kids throughout the doc, right? Everyone's watching the documentary and you see them in the last episode. But if they want to know where Jordan's kids at, they can go watch Give You the Game.
Okay. You can see where his daughter is. Well, one of his daughters.
All right.
And his sons are doing great work too. They'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was so important. So I'm glad you put that out, but I'm glad that you were also a little bit vulnerable with your journey. Because and people see a lot of our wins, and they forget that there are so many no's.
So many. Like so Datewan Thomas is the editor-in-chief of Vibe, and he is also one of my first like mentors and supporters in this industry who saw light and talent in me before I necessarily saw it in myself. And I met him through the Ween Academy. And he literally was just saying like the difference between the people that you look up to and the people that you don't hear about anymore is that they gave up. They threw in the towel. The only difference, the only reason why they are where they are is because they persevered through every no, through every hard time, through every moment where they lacked money, through every disagreement, through everything. Why Jay-Z is because he kept going, like regardless of anything that happened. Why Beyonce is Beyonce. People forget Beyonce, like in 2020, if Destiny's Child had Survivor and how that whole process went with 4-4-3, like the 4-4-3. And remember, every single radio station was calling her names and saying who's going to be the last on the island. And she talked about it. She used to talk about it years ago. She went through a major depression because she's the face and the lead of the brand. And people were like, you're the only reason you're popping because you're dead. They were like saying she can't sing. She's gone through so much. And the reason why her fans are ride for her so hard is because we've been loving her and fans of her since I was 14, 15, switching my knees, you know, to no. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that at the end of the day, if you can find that deep core place that reminds you why you started and why you actually want to be here, you have to keep that lit and protect it, because when nights come and nobody cares about your work and you're missing money, you need invoices, and you're trying to figure out all those things, you will still want to keep going. And you just have to find that place and protect it.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, somebody like called me. I'm like, okay, if anyone calls me on
you
live,
lit.
No, but if anyone calls me on live, that means that you're not watching. And I'm like, okay, where are my friends at for real if you're not watching my live? So I'm throwing all types of shade so they can see it. You're not on live. But yeah, but just thinking, I mean, like, just even thinking about that, like, when it comes to Beyonce and her journey, another part that she talks about is the friendships that she had, right? And when it comes to you, you surround yourself with phenomenal Black women in media. You have your tight core group. Talk to me about those conversations. How does it feel to have other women that are on this journey with you, that are each being successful in their own rights and what they're we have to shout out Black Girl Podcast. And then I also have to give a shout out to Yvonne, because that's something that you work with as well and who I absolutely love. But just talk
one of the loves of my life. That is my sister.
She's absolutely amazing. So talk to me about surrounding yourself with other positive Black women on this journey of yours.
You know, I've always been a girl's girl. Like, girls are just awesome. Women are awesome. You know, and Ween really, really helped shape how I see my Black sister, like my Black sister ships, the ones that like I can turn left and right to and cry, laugh, pray, do all things with, when lose, draw with. And so after going into Ween and graduating, when I came out into the industry, it was a little bit more difficult to meet people because, you know, everybody, we're new. Like, we're just trying to figure it out. Like, I don't know. Like, are you a nice person? Are you crazy? But I am naturally, like, very bubbly. So I'll definitely go up to people like, hey, how are you? Like, my name is Gia. What's yours? Like, whatever. And so, you know, as we all, the cool thing is every single year, everybody grows. And that's my favorite part. Like, I remember having conversations with, Danny about just really, really jumping out and moving towards the next level. I remember having conversations with Scotty before she left Hot 97. Like, we've all been there throughout each other's careers, and it's beautiful to see us now still flourish and be here, and we're not going nowhere. And, you know, there's, at the end of the day, the beauty is there's so much success out here, and there's so much opportunity. And if you can surround yourself with people who believe in you and who look like you and who celebrate you and who support you, you are half the way there. Like, it literally is beautiful to see so many of my girls win and continue to be friends. And even especially the girls who work behind the scenes. My manager, Courtney Whitaker, is one of my Ween sisters. One of my best friends from Ween is also one of the heads at Condé Nast. Or is it Hearst? Okay. She was one of the heads over their video production. So, you know, everybody is just consistently staying there, and those are the people you need to look to. Hey, it's the reals in here. Hey, those are the people you have to look to kind of keep your head in the game, because this gets very crazy. Alicia is here from BGP. That's another one of my sisters. And so, yeah, you know, it gets crazy. Like, this journey gets real. You need friends.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's Stevie Wonder. He's hanging out with us.
Yes. Hey,
that's my boy.
Love you. But yeah, no, I think that's so important. I think that you know, when you think of Gia Peppers and when you think about your journey, you think about, like, the people that you surround yourself with. And I think that's so important, you know, as Black women in media, because our journey isn't easy. Our journey is a lot different. And right. And then they try to put each other against each other in many ways. Right.
Yeah.
So how did you, because I think that's so important. I don't know. I was watching an interview with Carrie Champion, and she talked about the first moment when she met Jamel, because she came up to her and she's like, you know, I was supposed to have this job, and they want us to hate each other. This is first take. They want us to hate each other, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to actually have a friendship. And from there, she's like, that's going to be my road dog, right?
That's dope.
How do you, isn't that amazing, right? Talk to me about that, though. How do you get through those moments where people can often be like, you know, like, they try to put you against each other. They're like, oh, well, like, you know, there can't be two of you. How do you do that? How do you tap into that so you know that everyone can win? How do you build that mentality?
Yes. First, I didn't get to talk about Yvonne, because that's one of our babies.
Oh, yeah.
Yvonne is one of the dopest women. Again, we all met during the Wizards era, the poppin' era of the Wizards, when they was in the playoffs and winning and all that stuff, and they didn't go far in the playoffs, but they was there.
I got the last.
It was right there. And so so in my position there as the in-arena talent, in the on-air, you know, co-host there with Rodney, like, I could talk to the Wizards girls, but I couldn't really hang with the Wizards girls because, like, you know, they are always dance. Like, this is not a game when they come. Like, when we get off the mic, we can, you know, go socialize with people, meet people, get to know people. Like, so I always felt like a little lonely during my first few years there. And I met Yvonne, and we don't even remember how we met, but just immediately we clicked and we saw something in each other. We were like, you're gonna be my girl. And literally since then, we've done so much together. She's one of my most supportive friends. And sometimes your friends will find you in the most interesting places. Like, it'll be work, but sometimes, you know, you can build those walls because it gets scary, but you can take them down a lot of the times and get to know the women around you, especially the ones that have your same hustle, your same focus, your same drive, and that same big heart. because I think a lot of people also close off their heart a lot just to protect it, which I get. This is a heartbreaking industry. But she and I, that's just my baby, and I just love her, so I just had to say that. But when it comes to building the mentality of making sure that everybody knows that there's space, it takes a lot, right? Human tendencies want you to feel like your friends are your competition. Your
Whew.
human tendencies will get you right there. You see a new post and you'll be like, dang, I was gonna do that. Dang, I should have done that. Dang, okay, that's dope. But what's so great about it, right, is that when you take off your blinders and you finally look around you and you can see that not only are these women your peers, but they're your friends, and that it's an honor to share space with them and get to know them, you are able to enjoy and appreciate the gift of knowing these women. Like, there are women I know that I've seen at the bottom, at the hard parts of their journey, and to know their stories and to see where they are now, it's the most beautiful thing. So even if you also feel weird, even if you get that tinge, you choose the other thoughts. Like, you have to learn how to build that muscle that's like, no, we're not going to do that competition thing. We're not going to do that thing that makes me think that she immediately is now somebody I have to watch. No, that is so unhealthy and toxic. And especially in this comparison world we live in, where you can sign on to today and see 40 people winning at something, and it'll make you feel like you haven't done anything with your whole life. And that's not true. Like, a lot of the times you have to do that interpersonal work to call out those crazy thoughts and be like, that's not true. Absolutely not. That's just not true. And if you feel a way, I also think that's time to get in the mirror. Like, if you really feel so crazy, you might have to go ahead and pull up on yourself and be like, hey girl, I know today was a long day. Stop. You're getting on my damn nerves. This has nothing to do with you. But the truth is, man, what's for you is going to be for you. Like, there is no person, no thing, no money, no anything that is going to take you off of your path, off of the opportunities that are just for you. And when other people get those opportunities, especially when they look like you and me, that's a win for all of us. That means that there is even more opportunity to do things, because if they do well, we do well. If she gets a show, I get a show. If she gets a premiere, I get a premiere. There's going to be that ripple effect, because unfortunately this Hollywood industry, which we're trying to dismantle and break down those views, but still really, really takes note of how Black shows do out the gate, so they can see whether or not to produce more Black shows, which is disgusting. We should do more. Black people should be able to be mediocre if we want to. But we gonna get there. And the truth is, when your sister wins, you win. And so I just want to make sure that people realize that, like, it's okay to feel a little crazy, right? Like, sometimes if you feel crazy, you're human. Your human flesh might win some of those talks, but don't let it stay there. Like, don't let that be your life. Don't let that be your story. Don't be a hater. Don't become a hater. And so, there's been definite moments where I had to get in the mirror and be like, Dad, that's not you. Don't do that. Check it. Be cute. That's not it. We're not doing that. And I think as you grow and you understand path and vision and purpose and energy, and you focusing on your journey and what you put in, you'll get out, you'll understand that everybody's just trying to work. Everybody's just trying to do their best. And if you put your best foot forward, you need to clap for the people who are putting their best foot forward too, because you know how hard it is to keep doing that on a repeat basis.
Woo! That was a word. That was a word. Now, I really hope y'all took that in, because I think that's so important. Because the world is going to constantly put us against each other. We can't do it to ourselves.
Yes.
That friendship is so key. And like you said, when one wins, we all win. So when somebody else gets a show, that means, okay, so they're seeing that works. They're seeing that sells out, with Black Panther in theaters, when they realize, oh, we can go international. We can do more of these all Black films.
Wakanda is real.
We can do that. Oh, that's cool. Oh, we can have this person. Joy Reid has a show coming on MSNBC. The
Thank
first,
God.
like things like that starts to happen. And so I think that's so important. But I think, again, the world tries to get it, they try to put that in our head that we can't all win. And our journey's going to be different. And it
Right.
might take longer. So that one person might win. And it might take us 10 years and it might, whatever. But black don't crack for a reason. So
Okay. I don't know how old anyone is,
exactly.
honestly. I don't know.
We can still look 23 when we
I
go
could
out.
be 20 to 40. Nobody knows. Lovey told me the other day, like, you need to take your daggone bio and update it to not have any age, because one, that's not your age. I was like, yeah, I haven't updated my bio in a while. But
Oh,
on
yeah.
my site,
That,
and she
yeah.
was like, girl, it don't matter how old you are. Nobody cares. Like, who cares? Don't
Yeah.
nobody care. I was like, okay, so I gotta do that. But yeah, you gotta, if you really here for your journey and your purpose, which is why I really, really ask when people ask me like how to stay focused. I really always ask, like, why do you want to do it? Like, do you want to do it for the 6 seconds that you take a picture with a celebrity so you can post it and you can get likes, and then you're looking for validation from people who really don't even care about you anyway? Or are you doing it because you care about the story, that you care about that people know that they're able to do things that their greatest inspirations do?
Yeah.
Like, what's your why? You really have to do that work.
That's so important. And you guys, I see there are like some questions in here coming in. And we're gonna do that towards the end because I know, we have a hard out. But there was a question that I had. It just like literally lost me.
First of all, shout out to your highlighter. I see it.
Thanks. That
It
was
looks great.
thank you.
It
Appreciate
looks
it.
great.
I'm trying to think of what the question I had. Oh my goodness. There was what was it? There was something that you brought up and I was like,
I was talking about what I was talking about. Talking about dang. I was talking about journey, purpose. I was talking about why you started. I was talking about what else? Talking about
oh,
friendship,
yes,
sisterhood.
this was it. When it comes to your journey, the question that I had was, during this time, like, with COVID, we've had to really have moments with ourselves. We've had to, like things have slowed down at the beginning. Now it seems like life is all on digital media. My schedule has gotten busy again, and I don't understand.
Yes.
Like, oh, I have all this time to binge watch, and now I don't. But
Yeah.
what is something that you learned about yourself during this time that you didn't know prior?
Healing has to be a priority in everything, every part of my life. I think there have been a lot of times where I've been so busy and so on the go that I've been able to put down different things that I wasn't able necessarily paying attention to, that I was just like, oh, I'll deal with it later. Like, yeah, that hurt my feelings, but I'll deal with it later. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm kind of disappointed about that. I'll deal with it later. In quarantine, you have to deal with all things and all feelings and all emotions. You can't run from yourself. You can't perform yourself out of pain. There's nobody clapping for you. There's no stages. There's no people that are yelling your name on red carpets. It is you. And you have to figure out those moments, in those moments where you are even surprised about the thoughts that cross your mind. Like, you're like, what? Where
Yeah,
did I come from?
yeah,
Like, literally, you have to do that work and take that time to mine out those hard feelings that might, like, if you ever said it to anybody, they probably be like, wow, I don't even like you anymore as a person. Like, you have to
yeah.
also have really great friends. Like, one of my best friends is also she works with me on my management team, and her name's Kristen Turner,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk all the time about, like, that has been my best friend since we were 11. So we'll talk all the time about like things that are happening in our life. And she is my sounding board when, I can't go anywhere else because I don't want people to feel worried if I say something crazy, like, you have to have that friend that could be your no filter zone. And
Yeah,
that could be like, girl, okay, whoop, okay, that sounded crazy, but I get it. I hear that. I'm going through that too. Like, and so my healing, what the biggest thing I've learned about myself during this time is that healing is work, and I can't be afraid of the work just because it might be scary and it might be something that I'm not used to. I have to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable, and I have to understand that at the end of the day, if I don't do the work to heal the different parts of me that are scarred, or that have really, really always been something I've been able to avoid, then there will be no purpose of me doing anything because it'll just keep having the same cycle of pain. So, and there's little things that I'm calling out now. And as you know, I started therapy. So, it's just, I'm grateful for the time because I think it was the mirror that was like where, we not beating our face every day. Mirror where you're like, okay, we got to fix some things today, not tomorrow, today. And so it's been beautiful and awesome and scary, but I'm excited to be on that journey.
Did you start therapy during quarantine, or when did you actually start?
My first session was actually yesterday.
Oh, really? That was your first one ever?
My first session ever, like my first one-on-one. I've done like different like group things and like different church counselings and group meetings. But I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and do this the right way.
You sound going for years. There's some of the things that you've been dropping. My therapist said to me, I'm like, okay, Jesus.
You know what that is though? I have always been really big on spirituality, self-help, Super Soul Sundays. Like even when I was talking to my therapist yesterday, she was like, girl, you got all the ingredients. We just got to put it together because she was like, you sound like you already do so much positive self-talk. You do a lot of the things that I would do I would tell my patients, like you already have a lot. And so I was like, oh, okay, we got to get it together. And so, like at the end of the day, I'm always trying to improve and move towards being the best version of me. And I saw a live the other day with Ty Bouchamp, and she was like talking to this woman. I forget her name. I followed her, but she was like, you don't want to be a public success and a private failure. And I was like, well, sis, drag us all. And I was like, no, I'm not going to run from anything else. I have the time to sit in it right now, and let's do it. Let's get to it. And so, yeah,
I celebrated my year anniversary of therapy. I was about to say last month, but I realized that January was not last month. These months have all fallen together, and I don't know
what month it is, Chad. I couldn't tell you. It's July-uary.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. So I'm like, oh yeah, it's been a year and a half now. But that, my Black woman therapist, and she's been amazing. And it's been life-changing. So anyone that goes to therapy, I totally recommend it. And I think, and it's so important in the career field that we're in, because it's so much rejection that we face. It's so many ups and downs, and it's so many people, and it's not even rejection all the time. It's sometimes all the success. It's sometimes like, you're getting all these good stuff coming towards you, and then you start having that imposter syndrome. You start feeling like, like, is this too much? And it's overwhelming. So I think that's so important to have therapy. And
absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I was so excited when you said that. I was like, girl, go ahead. We don't got to do live yesterday. Go to therapy. That's fine.
Thank you.
Let me tap into some of these questions here. Okay, so this is a good question right here. At what point should talent seek managers or an agent?
That is a good question. I don't have an agent. God is my agent. I'm looking for an agent. So I started seeking out I needed help when it becomes too overwhelming to handle by yourself, when the requests are starting to get so crazy and so annoying, and money conversations shouldn't necessarily be something you have. Initially, when you start out as a talent and you don't have enough money, or you don't feel like you're necessarily getting enough bookings, they're not coming every day, like it's not something that you're having too much thought over that it stresses you out, create an email, be that email person, and figure it out from there. So like me and Tracy G talk about it all the time. Like once we built out our website, you can go on GoDaddy.com and start an email that says like manager at GiaPeppers.com or Gia Pepper's booking at gmail.com, like different things like that. And you can run your own booking, and you can figure that out and come up with a cute name for yourself and be your own alter ego and say, and negotiate for yourself, because money conversations can get interesting, especially starting out. You will probably take some jobs that are a little worth less than what you're worth. But what's most important is gaining footage for your reel, gaining visibility with brands that are reputable, and have done great work, and making sure that you're building up your work, your portfolio. So I would definitely recommend, once it gets too stressful, like say you are getting asked to do things every week now and it's 4 to 5 requests and it's just getting to be to the point where you're like, I can't handle this load by myself, then seek out somebody. And I would recommend seeking out somebody that you know that might be doing it for other people that you respect. I'm not sure how cold calling goes, but a lot of my friends who have managers, like Terrence J's manager is one of his best friends from college. Like, look in your inner circle to see who's business savvy, who maybe it's a friend of yours that studied law too, because my best friend helps me with all my contracts. So, figure out who's in your Rolodex that actually believes in you enough to work with you, because you don't want somebody who doesn't believe in you. That's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, okay, that's perfect. Okay, so I see someone said, how did you build up your partnership with brands?
Woo! One by one. So my first ever brand booking came after my first ever brand booking came while I was working at Essence as the associate editor of EssenceFest.com, or the junior editor of EssenceFest.com. And I had that job. I forget what year, Jesus. I don't remember the year. It was like
2014, right? I feel like it was
yeah,
20.
I
I've
think it
done
was,
my research. I think it was
thank
2014.
you. Thank you, sis. It was 2014. 2014 Essence Fest. And I was there as a staff writer, as an associate editor. I got to interview Jill Scott. I got to do all these great things. I got to interview Sarah Jakes and Teray Roberts, like all these great things. And, everybody, this was all phone interviews, but I just, whatever. Devon Franklin, Trey Songz, Marvin Sapp, everybody. And it was so cool because that was my, Essence, man, work. That's the dream for so many of us, to work in that headquarters. And so what I realized going to Essence Fest was that all the talent was making way more than the people that was working there, like day to day struggling. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna be back next year as a talent. Don't even worry about it. You trying to tell me I can't go to the concerts, I can't go backstage, I can't do all this because I'm a journalist? Oh, don't worry. Next year I'm gonna be back as a talent. So I made sure that I stayed in touch with the sales team, but also made sure that like they knew what I wanted to do. And so you honestly have to figure out what matters to you most, right? Like, so I necessarily can't go back, like New York Times. And I don't know this, but if you become like an influencer, if that's part of the work that you do, it might hinder some of the journalism, like serious ethics based run journalism places. So if you want to be like a serious writer and you want to work for the New York Times and you hope to have a column there every week, brand partnerships might be a little wonky for you. You might want to figure that out. But I knew that as an entertainment journalist, sometimes you get boxes from people and they're a gift box and they're just saying thank you for things. And so I was like, yeah, I'm also going to have to learn, I have to learn how to balance it for me. And so you have to start one by one. I started from the back end, meaning that I saw how these big publications worked, how their sales team pitched for other people. And I said, hey, can you throw me in a deck? I have a phase. I do this. I really am a host. Sent over my resume, my things like that. And slowly but surely, my first brand that I ever worked with was My Black is Beautiful, doing on the street stuff for them. And then the first talent, like flued out talent, was with Verizon when they were doing a backstage thing at Essence Fest 2015. And so, you have to figure out, again, who knows you. Maddie James is a great resource for if you are like an influencer and you want to do influencing, like that's what you want to do. The Maddie James on Instagram, please follow her. She has beautiful workbooks that lay it all out. But if you're a journalist and you want to do some brand partnership work, I definitely think you should like figure out your structure of your brand and what you want to accomplish. But yeah, it's all possible. You just got to keep hustling.
Definitely. All right. So I know Instagram will kick us out, and I'm about to get the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that I gave you your roses. But
you.
just for everything that you do, Gia, I mean, the world is a better place because you're in it. But no, on some real stuff, though, we really appreciate all that you do. We appreciate the content. We appreciate your storytelling.
Thank
And
you.
I said it before you even came on. It's just like you're able to interview anyone, and you're a role model for many. And so I
Thank
thank
you.
you. I thank you for being able for paths I've been able to cross. But thank you for coming on here and being able to share your story and continuing to share your story, but also remaining so raw and real.
Thank you.
Love about you, and so just keep doing that. Free game Fridays, is that going to be back this Friday? Do we have?
I think I'm a check on a few things because I was like, I think I need to bring it back this Friday. So I'm checking on a few of my talent friends. But hey, Lauren, thank you to everybody that watched. I hope y'all learned a lot. Free Game Fridays is